Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. This is the Coalition presents WrestleCast. I don't want to call it Friday Night WrestleCast because I can't remember last time we did it on a Friday night. It's WrestleCast, and I'm joined here by my co-pilot Dana Abercrombie. How you doing, Dana?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing good. Can't complain.
I'm also joined by the first host of this show, the one and only Richard Bailey Jr. How you doing?
Doing good, Ricky. How's everybody doing out here today?
Feeling great. Not so much yesterday, but feeling great today. We've got a big pay-per-view coming up in actually just a few hours. That is AEW's Full Gear. It's being headlined by the match I've been waiting for a long time, and that is the Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. That's something that we'll get into as we go into the predictions. First, I just wanted to give a shout out to my guy Mox, who is currently taking time off as he recovers through alcoholism. We've all known someone that's been affected by that, and it can be pretty rough. So, it took a lot of courage and strength for him to tackle this head on and take the time off, because I'm sure that he loves to wrestle, loves to do all this stuff, and it had to be tough to walk away from it for now. But I'm going to wish him all the best and good recovery, and looking forward to his return. While we wait for Dana to return, Rich, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I do want to wish him a speedy recovery. I will say this. I mean, obviously, yeah, I know he was open about it, and I haven't picked up his book yet. I believe you have picked up his book, so you can probably talk a little bit more about
that. I have, but I haven't read it yet, so I will.
I've read twice.
And I encourage you all to pick it up on Amazon. But go ahead, continue.
Okay, so I will say this. I do hope that he is able to recover. I'm not going to lie. When he had a lot of these hardcore matches, I often wonder what goes into that. And then after, when you take so much damage in these matches, how are you feeling mentally, physically? So I don't know if he was drinking after this stuff as a way of coping with any injuries he might have sustained. But I just hope that he's able to recover, because again, alcoholism is very serious. There's a lot of people in my family who've had issues with drinking. And for those that haven't recovered, yes, it's a blow. So I want him to definitely focus on himself, get better, and of course he has a family to consider as well. So yeah, it's a serious topic. I will pray for his family, and that everybody is okay and that he is okay mentally, spiritually, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Dana, anything that you wanted to add?
No, just I'm really happy that Tony Khan announced it, because usually this is something that's always been kept in secret, and that he wanted the fans to know, and that Tony shared it. I thought it was a really nice moment, what they had with the crowd and everyone was chanting his name. And I also just want to point out, because it's really obvious, how different the two companies react to their employees going through their own personal struggles. Remember back with WWE, we had the whole Junke storyline involving Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
And here we don't address that at all. We don't have nobody's a junkie or any other alcoholic or any other word that they just treat them like actual human beings, and that was really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see the company that's like looking after their talent and supporting them publicly as well as privately. Again, we saw that with how they handled the Brody Lee thing, where they knew internally what was going on, but we did not hear at all publicly until much later. That's how tight-knit that group is. So that's, much credit to AEW and that whole family for that. So, yeah, absolutely. So what else?
Can I make a quick comment?
Yeah, sure.
I want to piggyback off of what both you and Dana said. Yes, AEW should be applauded for how they are treating their wrestlers, because while Dana pointed to the stuff with Jeff Hardy, just as a company as a whole, it feels as though they have a better relationship with their talent. because I did see a bit of controversy this week with a former WWE wrestler by the name of Keith Lee, and the fact that he came out and said that he was paying for his medical bills, and then I see WWE comes out and makes a statement and says, "Oh, he's completely wrong. That statement is false." So this is a dynamic that shows you the difference between how WWE treats their talent and how AEW treats theirs.
Yeah, and it was also kind of weird because for me, I didn't know that he was pointing any fingers at WWE.
Yep.
I just thought it was like a general look. I have enough money to pay my own bills.
Exactly.
You know? I don't need a GoFundMe or anything. And for WWE to be like, no, haha, we paid your bills, you liar. And I'm like, where is this coming from? It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with AEW, it's like there's no disputing it. Like, I mean, you haven't heard of any wrestlers complaining about them not being taken care of or whatever. I would assume that Tony Khan would just pay the medical bills and it'd be like a drop in the bucket for him. You know what I mean? WWE is very much about a penny pinching with every little thing. As we've seen with the latest cuts. And actually, speaking of that, did you guys want to talk more about that? Because you mentioned Keith Lee, but we also had Killer Cross and Scarlett and Frankie Monet. There's a whole bunch of shocking names.
Well, it was the B girl. What's her name?
Oh yeah, from
B-Fab.
B-Fab, yes, B-Fab from
Hit Row.
the Hit Row, which I actually kind of like. It reminded me of oh my gosh, the Street Profits. No, it was like a good group. You said no?
No way, the Street Profits. No, much cooler.
It was like Street Profits meet a little bit of New Day-ish. No.
A
little bit of the Acclaim.
Much more street than that. Much more street than that.
Much more street than the Street Profits.
Much more street than the team that actually has the name Street in it. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't even give her a chance. I mean, I can't imagine that her was enough to justify budget cuts.
Yeah, they said that that the group would be fine without her. Like, why would you have her sign? What changed within literally 1 week?
They said that, and yet they felt the need to have Sami Zayn in a segment with them when they made their debut. So that answers the question right there.
Well, because, that's to basically say, we want this group to be included now. Forget Fat B Girl. Here's a distraction, Sami Zayn, whose music they changed.
So I'll make a quick comment on the releases. I obviously, this has been a horrible year for WWE in terms of the talent that they have released, because some of the people they released, they are very creative. They would be superstars in any wrestling company. So you question the logic in those decisions. And the fact that they keep saying budget cuts, I think that's all BS. Because if it is budget cuts, I'm pretty sure people like Brock Lesnar, who was making a ton of money, people like Goldberg, who was making a ton of money, that lets you know it's not just about that, because you don't have to overpay these people to show up. But my overall thought is that I feel WWE is in a very dark place right now. I know Keith Lee had put out a tweet yesterday also saying for the people that was angry to be patient with the company. And I have to disagree with Keith Lee, because all year they have been making these decisions to get rid of people like Bray Wyatt, etc. Congrats to him, by the way, because he is making a movie, and I look forward to seeing what that looks like. But it's just that WWE, to me, is in a very bad place right now. And when you have people like Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard that have a direct influence on what's happening in NXT, that just means that they can now create the stars they want with the bad names and the bad gimmicks and move them up to the main roster while getting rid of the people who are established already as actual wrestlers. So this is why I haven't been watching WWE for quite some time, because the Bray Wyatt news, I remember where I was at when I heard that news. I stopped everything, and then I believe I texted you, Ricky, and Dana to say, what the hell is happening in the company? So to me, it's not a good time to be a WWE fan. Yes, there are some people there that I support and I want to see them successful, but I will never, ever spend money on any WWE event, at least not in the foreseeable future, until I see they actually are making an attempt to have a future. Because the future stars, I'm not feeling it right now. But I wish everybody well that they did get rid of. I'm sure they will get back on their feet sooner rather than later.
Eesh. Yeah, and also just to kind of add really quickly, this was what kind of made this cut a wee bit more insulting than the previous cut was it was done right after they did that huge media press that conference call, and it was like we made $255 million in the first quarter, not even the whole year, just in the first quarter. So, but then we have to have budget cuts because we have no money. So you have to, that whole thing was just so disrespectful. And some of the cuts, I will say, was very surprising. And some of the cuts, I hope I'm not phrasing this wrong. I don't mean this in any kind of ill will, but some of the cuts were actually needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who in particular you're talking about, but I have an idea of who you could be talking about. So I'll just say yes. It was some of the
I know who you're
that's
talking about, and I absolutely agree.
that person kind of regressed. We thought they would progress more, but they just kept regressing.
They regressed, so and I believe that person has injured some people as well. So, yeah.
But hopefully, if the person wants to come back into wrestling, they can focus on themselves first, get the training that they always needed, and can move on. So yeah.
So yeah, let us move on to tonight's show, Full Gear. Let's get started with the pre-show. Looks like we've got a tag team match.
Can I hear you, Ricky?
I'm sorry, what happened?
You said something, Dana?
Oh, no, go ahead. Okay. We got a tag team match with Hikaru, Shida, and Thunder Rosa going up against Jamie, Hayter, and Nyla Rose. Whichever one of you want to go first, you can go right ahead.
I can go first.
Wait, which match?
Thunder Rosa is a star. I think it's pretty safe to say she's going to win that match with Shida. I used to think they had a plan for Nyla Rose. I'm not quite so sure they have a plan for her right now. I know that you had Vicky Guerrero also involved, but I mean, I think Thunder Rosa, obviously, her coming over to AEW, that was a big deal. So I think that's who they're going to have win this match.
What do you think, Dana?
She kind of made history already, wasn't it? She had like her 300th win or something 50. Like that. Yes. Sorry, I put it right out there. She's been listening every single day since debuting, every day. But no, for this one, yes, I want Shida to win. I think it would be great that she won. But what if we kind of also gave it to Nyla and company? I know that Nyla has a lot of work to do and a lot of things she has to prove to herself. So why not give it to the underdog? Because to me, it seems after a while you keep winning. It's not like you doesn't deserve it. But as a fan, let's change things up a little bit. So I would really kind of like that. And Hayter is actually improved significantly. So I think a way to reward both of them would be for this match.
Yeah, these are some good theories. I actually wasn't quite sure what I was going to pick. That's why I wanted to hear your thoughts first. And I'm gonna roll with the heels here with Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose, and particularly because when you look at the match, Shida's been featured a lot, Thunder Rosa's featured a lot, and Nyla's been featured a lot. But Jamie Hayter, we haven't seen a lot of her. So this is an opportunity to kind of prop her up as someone to look out for in that division. She may even be the one that does the pin for all we know. So I'm going to go with Hayter and Rose for the win here. All right. So now let's move on to the main card. And I'm going to start from the bottom from this list that I'm seeing. So let's start from the bottom. And we got a tag team match of Cody Rhodes and Pac going up against Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo. Dana, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. basically, I can't stand Cody Rhodes. Can't explain it. Something in my soul, just like I don't like Bobby Lashley. I don't like Cody Rhodes, the wrestler, not the person. I'm not a person. So for me, I know that Cody needs the win because he came back and got his behind beat. He interrupted with Rosario Dawson, which was so random. Rosario was there at his side, kicking butt from the actual in the crowd, which is also really weird too. But I do have to feel, I do say that Cody has to win this, or else he'll continue to just look like a fool that he already is. Because if he would just accept that heel role and he refuses to, and he's going into John Cena territory, I hate this, but he has to win because John Cena, at the end of the day, he won something.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And it's funny that like you mentioned John Cena. I couldn't quite put my finger on it of what Cody is currently reminding me of, and that's totally it. Where the fans are pretty much saying like, "You suck as a face. You may as well turn heel," and he's being like, "No, I'm not going to abandon you guys. I still love you guys." And all this corny crap. It's some very old school corny crap. And
Cena,
like I'm totally pulling for Malachi and Andrade, but I think they're going to lose. I think it's going to be Cody and Pac winning this. What do you think, Rich?
Those are very good observations. I know that Dana loves Cody Rhodes' TV show. So that's why that's why I was shocked to hear that response. I'm just going to say this. I agree with what Dana said at the very beginning of her assessment. Tired of Brody Codes, and I am tired of Brody Codes. I've been tired ever since this guy started winning and beating everybody that they put him in a match against. So I am rooting for Malachi Black and Andrade because these are the people that you made a big deal about bringing these people into the company. So I feel like this storyline with Malachi and Cody, this needs to end. And I think this is the match where it needs to end. It would be far more interesting if Cody did do a heel turn or had this whole storyline about he keeps losing. Now he has to go do this whole thing with soul searching. That would have been far more interesting dynamic. But for some reason they avoid it. So I don't know. I think you both made good points about Cody probably will win, but I'm still going to go with Malachi Black and Andrade because I feel like they have bigger plans for both of those guys.
Okay. I respect that. And I actually would have preferred that twist. That would have been a good twist and they incorporated that in the reality show. Like he was crying and sobbing about, and the fans, no matter what I do, they just don't like me. And he was crying to Tony, and it was really cute.
Such a cornball. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. It's sad.
All right. Next up, we got a False Count Anywhere match, and it's tag team action between Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, going against the Super Click of Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. I'm going to just say right here and now, that's the wrong graphic. But
that's the wrong graphic.
All right, it's okay. Yeah,
it's okay. Wait, I'm trying to get
Watchamania.
Watchamania.
Not quite that one either, but
that's
we
right.
will feature that. We will get to that one later. I'm going to go ahead and say the Super Click's going to win this. Again, they've been giving the Elite the rocket, and Adam Cole is piling up the wins. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Christian Cage, they're here to put on a good match and lose. That's the way I see it. So, who else wants to go next here?
I'll go next.
Okay. Nope.
I do agree that Adam Cole and the Elite obviously is what they are focused on. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. And I listen, no disrespect to anybody that feels this way or feels opposite rather. I was not a fan of the Young Bucks joke when they saw Bobby Fish about the whole alluding to Undisputed Era. I'm tired of these companies referencing the other under the tongue, and it's corny. I don't care about that.
I like that. I definitely like that.
That thing would be acclaimed. And when he went and he talked about John Laurinaitis was freaking hilarious.
I haven't seen that. I heard about it.
Bryan Danielson, he said I fired more wrestlers than your father-in-law. That thing was hilarious.
Okay, I'll go back and watch that. But I saw this and I was like, no, don't talk about Undisputed Era. WWE dropped the ball with that. So I didn't want to be reminded of that. But to answer your question about who I picked for this match, I want Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus to win the match. Now, obviously, I feel if they don't win it, it's going to be because Bobby Fish gets involved, because you know that he was supposed to have a match against Jungle Boy. I didn't see if that match was the other night, right? I didn't watch
Rampage. They had it on Rampage last night.
So did he win the match, or did Jungle Boy win? Did Bobby Fish win? Because I didn't watch that match.
I don't remember. That's the sad thing. Is that
okay, that's fine.
Fast forwarded through it.
But the point out of it. But the point that I'm making is that they have teased that Bobby Fish can potentially join them. So I feel if they win the match, it's going to be because he gets involved. Even though I don't want that to happen, that's what I think is going to most likely be the case if they win. But I'm rooting definitely for Jungle Boy to win, because I feel like they was doing something with Jungle Boy, and then the whole allure of him having a match with Adam Cole, that's great. But you had Adam Cole beat him. At some point, Jungle Boy has to be elevated and win something of value. And same with Luchasaurus. So we'll see what happens. But I'm rooting for them to win. But more than likely, I'm pretty sure Adam Cole will win, because this is his first pay-per-view where he has a match. So we'll see.
What do you think, Dana?
Wait, I hate to say this. It's terrible to say this. I'm kind of tired of Adam Cole, baby. I'm just like to me, it's basically kind of the same gimmick that we got in WWE. And except for now, you have the dudes with the Young Bucks now, and you know that they're playing heels, but they're so over the top with it. To me, I'm just overall tired of them. And so I don't want them to win. I think because, you have such an arrogant and cocky attitude coming in, for me, it's better to have them lose and to just kind of sulk in that loss than for them to just, win, be cocky about it. And it's the same thing. It's just the same storyline over and over, the same attitude over and over again. So I would prefer them to lose. And just because Adam Cole is new and shiny does not necessarily mean he should win. And I think even if he did lose, it's not going to affect him anyway, because he is so incredibly over. He's one of those people who's just over. Remember when he debuted? I forgot which pay-per-view it was, but when they did the double debut and everyone lost their mind, I just feel Full Out. Yes, that was that was a wonderful debut, because remember, we was like, what's going on? We knew we kind of knew either or, but we was like, oh, okay, that means Daniel Bryan is not going to come in. But then he came in anyway, and we all lost our minds again. I think that with him, you're probably not going to top that moment. And I think that it's been enough time between that pay-per-view and Full Gear where he settled down, and that whole is over with. Not to say that he's, people are bored, but that he has enough time to settle down now, and he could start losing things. I would appreciate some losses.
I wanted to go on that point about like I'm going to call it elite fatigue, that I've experienced fatigue from that group. I get what they're doing, and it's definitely effective, but my goodness, it's part of what's gonna it's part of what makes it so satisfying when those guys actually do lose. Like, for example, when the Young Bucks lost to Ray Phoenix and Pentagon, that was immensely satisfying. But as far as like Adam Cole, and I'm gonna go on to Rich's point, I understand like it can get annoying when AEW constantly references WWE, considering that WWE barely acknowledges AEW, except for that one time that Sami Zayn did.
They was going back and forth a couple of times. months now. Remember
But,
the company?
But I will say this. They WWE fumbled the bag on Undisputed Era, and they absolutely deserve to get mocked for it.
Yeah,
100%. They completely screwed that whole thing up. They had money in their hands with that group, and they didn't know what to do with them. They didn't even do the split correctly. It was completely terrible, and so they deserve to be mocked by it. And I have no sympathy for them whatsoever in that regard. So
Jeez, how do you really feel?
Yeah, but yeah. Let's move on to the next match, unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
No.
Okay.
I just hope that Bobby Fish doesn't end up joining. That's my biggest fear, is that he'll end up joining the Elite. Yes, because it's literally the same thing over and over again. And no offense, again, the Elite, yay, but you have your own YouTube, like they're the main of the, being the Elite thing. And it's just a lot. And I know, you don't have to watch it. And yeah, you don't have to watch it, but still, it's a lot.
I mean, the problem I have, not necessarily just the Elite, it's just this whole thing where there's like a million different factions, and 75% of them are all heel factions. And it's like, what the hell? Can you guys take it down a little bit and not have like a group of 8 people that are all heels? Like, can we come up with something a little bit more original? We don't have to be New Japan, or whatever. Except New Japan has like 4 groups, whereas AEW has like 10. But it's just the thing that I'll note, okay, about the Undisputed Era before we move on is that the Undisputed Era was kind of like a mix of Bullet Club and DX in a sense, where like, we're these outsiders that have come in and we're taking over this company and everything. So they had that same kind of vibe. And of course, Cole going to AEW and returning to the Bullet Club, it's just natural. And it's like that was what he was doing from the beginning. So he's just continuing the character that he had before WWE. Now, whether that's your cup of tea or not is a whole different discussion, but that's just how they're playing it. Okay. This next one should be interesting. We've got CM Punk against Eddie Kingston. Yes, you got the right graphic there. Yes, that is the one. Rich, would you like to go first?
Yeah. In my personal opinion, this is the reason why you watch the pay-per-view. One of the reasons. This is the match, because I saw their promo that they had. That was an excellent promo. I have no idea why that promo wasn't on the regular AEW show instead of the Friday night one, because more people, I think, watch the regular AEW show. So that's the only issue that I have with that. But this might be controversial. I'm picking Eddie Kingston to win, because Eddie Kingston, he's been doing an excellent job with AEW. They haven't really given him a meaningful win in quite a while. And I'm tired of CM Punk just rolling over every person they give him like it's nothing. This also feels, and this is something that we discussed in our chat, Ricky, this actually feels like this could be a legit feud that has multiple matches. And I think CM Punk needs that. It shouldn't just be every match is a one-off and that's it. So I would prefer to see Eddie Kingston win. But if Eddie Kingston loses and then it leads to a feud, I'm okay with that also. But Eddie Kingston, I think, needs to win more than CM Punk. That's just my opinion.
Dana?
Well, first of all, this should have been a bacon, egg, and cheese on a pole match, because this was New, man, this was all New York. That's all I could hear was just like pure New York. Here's the thing. Not to compare, I hate to be the person, but I'm going to compare a little bit. You know that when you watch WWE and they have their feuds and it's like one person speaks, then the next person speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go back to the other person. Like it's staged and it's da-da. This one felt so realistic. They were literally, you saw them fighting with each other, which we've seen in other ones, but you saw them arguing over each other, and you saw them talking over each other. That's what happens in real life. When you're having an argument, you're not going to wait for, and that's what I have to say. Mm-hmm. And now you go. You talk over each other. You bring up your grievances, and then you still say, you're wrong, and then you squabble. And between that whole promo, which was amazing, and you know that it was part of it was based on trueness. Because when Eddie Kingston was in Independent Circle, the thing was that CM Punk and others was talking about him, and that at the time Eddie Kingston had a tag team partner who kind of actually injured, not huge injury, but like injured someone's elbow, their opponent's elbow, and so the thing was, oh, you are unsafe to work with, and they took that what happened back then, and they carried it over now. And this is another thing that I love about AEW, continuity. Because remember, you have Malachi Black is still technically blind in that eye that whatchamaface blinded him.
Seth Rollins.
So you have continuity. So we're dragging in our past to make this feel like it's realistic. And with Eddie Kingston, I don't feel like this is a skit. I don't feel like we're just acting. I literally feel like I can believe this. And he is angry. And yes, I do agree with Richard. He needs to win. And again, not knocking CM Punk's. Yay. What was it? 7.5 years we haven't seen you. You're back. Great. Start losing something. And he should have lost that other match before. That would have been nice. Darby.
Yep.
No, I mean, that's kind of argumentative. You could say. I don't know. But the point is, I'm saying, I would have been fine with him losing. Either way, you know, like they're big, so they can lose or win, and it doesn't really matter. They don't bury them like other companies would do. That's the big thing. Like losing and burying are two separate things. But my issue is this. Eddie Kingston is someone, remember the fans wanted. When he first came in and he made his debut, I'm going to just put myself in there. I had no idea. What is an Eddie Kingston? Who is that? When he started talking, I said, oh my God, that's home. He's talking like you just opened a window in New York City and he's home. And just his personality alone made me want to watch everything that he did. And I did. And this is a guy who I feel naturally has that gift, naturally has that talent, and Punk has talent too, but the company has not done a lot with Eddie that they should do. I think his thing with Moxley was great because they both feel like two natural unscripted guys, so that was great. But for him solo now, he needs to be elevated more, and he needs to be the one who's able to defeat CM Punk. Because he, to me, has always been the underdog, even when he came in. And again, he is someone that the fans campaigned for. During his debut, they campaigned nonstop. And that's how Tony Khan signed him, because he was supposed to be one and done. It wasn't supposed to be him staying there. So let him win. It is better. And then on top of that, he deserves it too. So he's really good. He deserves it. And this is, like you were saying before, this whole match is the reason why you would give them the $50. It's worth everything. It's classic how we sell a match. This is a promo. This is how we get the audience to care. And I think they did a wonderful job. But Eddie Kingston needs to win because I'm sick and tired of that. And then, you know, have Tony Khan come out with the bacon, egg, and cheese, and he won. Does it?
Yeah, I don't know how to top that, but with Eddie Kingston, like if you think about if he was a free agent right now, like let's say none of what he did in AEW existed, he was a free agent, but you know what he's capable of. Everyone would say this guy would be such a perfect fit in AEW. He would be in the main event and all that stuff. He would be a big deal. And the problem is that when he has a chance to become a big deal, they don't quite pull the trigger. He's an underdog. And the thing is, he needs to have a marquee victory. He hasn't had one yet, as far as I know. And this would be a good time for Punk to lose because, like you said, like he is a legend, but at the same time, he's also a guy that has spent 7 years out of wrestling. And yeah, he was good enough to just beat Darby Allen and Bobby Fish and what have you. But it's got to be someone that can match up and beat him. And the thing is, you'd have to think that maybe in a close match, Eddie Kingston might have the advantage because Eddie has actually been wrestling all this time. And I mean, they didn't give this feud a lot of build, and it's still one of the most fascinating matches in the entire card. I think that this is only 2 or 3 weeks worth of build, and it's already just like wow. They've made it very personal very quickly, and the narrative that they're saying, the narrative that's coming from Punk is, oh, you're a bum and you don't live up to your potential and all that. And Eddie Kingston's like, who the hell are you to tell me that I'm a bum when you walked away, for 7 years and all that stuff. So it's very interesting, and I feel like it's good to have the win for Eddie Kingston for a couple of reasons. One is that it's a marquee victory. It's a big win. It's something that he deserves, and it's against a quality opponent. And two, it knocks Punk down a slight tad so that you don't get tired of seeing him win all the time. You want to continue to be like, if he's just clearing through everyone, it's like, okay, what makes him any different than Goldberg or something like that? You know what I mean? You don't want him to get to that point. So, I understood him going over Darby Allen. It was his first pay-per-view back. It'd be bad to have him lose that, but against Eddie Kingston should win this, and God willing, that's the result that's going to come out of it. I'm going to say it's Eddie Kingston. It can go either way. I just think it'd be a mistake if they went with Punk here, so I'm going to go Eddie Kingston.
He called him a bum.
Yes.
But it was like it's different. Like, oh, you a bum. He called him a bum from his soul. Like, you was a bum. I felt that. Sorry.
So I mentioned Darby Allen, and he actually is the next match that I wanted to talk about. It's Darby Allen up against MJF, and that's another one between two upstarts that could go either way. I am going to steal this prediction from my good friend Jeff, who says
Hardy.
that not Jeff Hardy, yeah, Junkie. My good friend Jeff, who says that Darby Allen will win because Wardlow will cost a match for MJF, and I think that is something I can very much see happening. So, Dana, what do you think?
Darby needs to lose. But then so does MJF. So I don't want this to be a DQ. I do wonder where Daddy Allen is in this whole situation. Sting.
Yeah. Daddy Allen.
Richard was like, I'm really on the fence with this one. But I will say that I am okay with MJF losing just because of how completely arrogant he is.
What do you think, Rich?
Let's give a shout out to Jeff. I think he hit it right on the money because that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think that Wardlow, I don't think MJF needs Wardlow anymore. This is the guy that could stand on his own and needs to be the focal point of a lot of this stuff moving forward from a singles perspective. Darby Allen and MJF lost the last pay-per-view, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I feel like Darby Allen, however, is over with the fans. Darby Allen should win this because I question why Darby Allen was the first person CM Punk went against. Because I was rooting for Darby Allen to win that match. I knew CM Punk was going to lose it because, as y'all said, his first match back. But now that time has passed, Darby Allen should be who wins this match. And MJF can lose it, and that can start the whole feud with him and Wardlow. But he does not need Wardlow anymore, I don't think. He can stand on his own as a singles competitor with no one else to back him up. That's just my opinion.
This is all good stuff there. So I think we're all going with Darby on this. So now watch MJF actually win. Daddy Allen, that's great. Next, we got the tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. It's between the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Rey Fenix going up against FTR, Dex Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler. Rich, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to just keep it real. I don't like FTR anymore, period. These guys were great in NXT. They were great, but it kind of feels like their better matches was in NXT. For some reason, I don't know. I can't really describe what that is. Maybe it's the way they were presented, but I really don't care about them. I wish them well in their careers, but when you're going against a team like the Lucha Brothers, and I recall that tag match they had at the last pay-per-view, that was one of the best matches on the card. So Lucha Brothers, I think it's simple. Lucha Brothers, that's who I root to win this match.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dana.
Okay, so here's the thing. Same sentiment as Mr. Bailey Jr. I think that AEW really dropped the ball with FTR, haven't utilized them to their full capacity, and I don't care about them. It is the same thing how I felt about the Good Brothers. Remember them? They exist. That's it. Like, cool. That's nice. Pay your bills. Pay your taxes. Keep existing. I don't have any investment in them. And that's really unfortunate because remember when they came in, it was so many high expectations. People were very excited for this. And the whole FTR thing, was supposed to have a double meaning and everyone was really excited. But they fizzled to this, like they're just another group on the roster. I feel, remember when they first came in and their whole issue was that the tag team side of things in WWE wasn't because they knew, they didn't respect tag team. And remember, every tag team that goes to WWE somehow is broken, and they end up doing singles. And their goal was to elevate the tag team division overall. And I felt that the tag team division was elevated in AEW, but it just never included them. So with them, you could say they need the win more, but these are for the belts. And honestly, sorry, but the Luchasaurus, the Lucha Brothers, I'm not going to say they're superior, but the way how they have been able to fight up in the ranks and then their match from last month, but a couple months ago, was so superior. You don't want them. They just won. And you had the kid. Remember the kids came out and they was happy and crying and they was crying. Why would you do that for the FTR who nobody can remember? Sorry. So sorry. But yeah. I'm going with the Lucha Brothers because they're awesome.
Well, yeah. I mean, FTR has already stolen the AAA tag belts, the Mexican tag belts from the Lucha Brothers. I don't see them getting the AEW one on top of that. That's just not going to happen. I'm going with Lucha Brothers on this one. Regarding FTR, I'm with you as far as feels like they're not as big a deal as they were when they came in. I was definitely happy for them when they won those tag belts, and that part of that was showing this is the upside of what this group is, that they can be the best in your division if you treat them that way. If you allow them the chance to really show it. But what they've become is lackeys as part of that group or the Pinnacle or whatever. They feel like not important. And I think that perhaps maybe them becoming part of that group was part of that decline for them. Because they're on their own, just these two guys fighting for these tag belts, that's one thing, but they're part of this group. And like you mentioned, this is a style of a clash of styles between two groups because the Luchas have that exciting style of theirs, and FTR is more of that old school, slow brawler type of style. And I'm going to be interested to see how that translates to a big pay-per-view. But I'm going to go with the Luchas to go ahead and retain those belts. Let's see. Minneapolis street fight. Boy, I don't know how I feel about this one. This is the Inner Circle. Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz going up against the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, an American top team featuring Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovski, and Dan Lambert. Dana, would you like to go first on this one?
How you have the one match with the CM Punk and the dude Eddie Kingston that you're really excited, and this is what sells the pay-per-view. This is what puts you to sleep. These are bathroom breaks. No offense to any of these people individually, but together, I don't give a flying fart. I feel that. I'm so sorry. The inner circle, like I feel like they've overstayed their welcome. When is Jericho retiring? Sammy, go do some single things because you're amazing. I don't know who in the flying fart is this other group with the dude and the Dan Lambert. I was bored from day one. This was like if AEW ever did any cuts, please, Dan Lambert, break this whole thing up. Like, and here's the weird thing: I don't know who they are individually. Yeah, we know of Scorpio Sky, we know of Best Friends, we know of them separately, except for like not the AEW, the UFC thing. Where? I haven't no. Like they haven't done enough job building them up individually to make me feel like individually they're strong, and then together when they come together they're like a super group of strongness. They seem like some random people that was just thrown together. Why is Scorpio Sky even here? Go do some great things that you was doing individually. Go do some, Jericho. Go find something else to do. Who else is in this group? There's too many people in this group. Look at this.
Yep.
And then also we know that Dan Lambert is going to probably end up fighting in the thing. So like, why? Why any of this? And I'm sorry, it may just be me, but I'm tired of the inner circle. I think that match that they had, what was it? Remember the first pay-per-view that they had during the Panorama? And it was that whole thing inside the stadium. That whole thing was freaking amazing. And that's when I cared. I don't care anymore. And I don't think that they can have matches that can top that match. And in that whole thing with remember Sammy was the turncoat and you didn't know what was going on with Sammy and he was not included. And like that was great. But now we're just extending this. And there's no need for there to be an extension anymore. Why? And it's too many people. And also on top of that, I'm not sure if you saw AEW, what was it? Not Dynamite, Rampage. That was confusing and like booty juice. It was just not good. That whole lumberjack situation was that was one of the worst Rampage so far that we've seen just in totality. No. So this makes me wonder, what is the match going to actually be?
A mess.
It's just going to just be body parts. The whole thing. This is the match. I don't need to see that. Yo, sorry, I'm talking too much. Yes, go on.
No, it's fine. I want to jump in and be like, it's a complete clusterfuck. That's what it is. You've got this entire group of heels that I haven't been given a good reason to care about, apart from the one guy who's probably not even going to wrestle, the Dan Lambert. He, I'll give him credit. He has that ability to talk promo on the mic. He talks a lot of shit and everything, but he's very effective at it. You can tell that he's a fan of wrestling. But the talent that they're propping up, the two UFC guys, Arlovski and Dos Santos, I haven't seen enough of them to care about whether they can go in the ring or not. I have not seen it. They haven't even bothered to show us. Then you have Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, two guys that really shouldn't be working together, in my opinion. They should either be solo acts or they should be tag teams with different partners. It just doesn't make sense to me. I thought that Scorpio Sky was someone that I thought that could be good as a solo babyface, someone that you can pull for. They decided to turn him heel, and now like, what's being done with him? Nothing really. Ethan Page is someone I think that has a lot of upside, but not while he's tethered to Scorpio Sky as part of a team that's not doing anything. I just don't see it. And as far as the inner circle, I'm with you guys. I'm tired of them. I think they should have split up already. And I especially don't feel them as baby faces either. They worked really well as a heel team. And once they went babyface, it's just like, I don't know. So
like that inner circle is good for karaoke night because they all sang Jericho songs.
I'm gonna say that the inner circle wins, but who cares? What are you gonna say, Rich?
Okay, I agree with everything that you both had to say. I'm not a fan of the inner circle, and to me, this is a sign of AEW acknowledging we know that we only have a couple pay-per-views a year, but we have to make sure everybody gets on the card one way or another, just because we feel like we are giving you a good value with the pay-per-view. But this is a perfect example of something that is unnecessary. Inner Circle, I'm tired of it. It doesn't make sense because Sammy is the champion now. Why is there not a title match, a title defense instead of this match? And that's instantly what I thought of immediately. You could have had him go against Ethan Page or Scorpio Sky. That would have been a far more intriguing matchup instead of this matchup. But because they figure we have to have Jericho and all these others involved, it doesn't make sense. And I agree with what Dana said. I feel like Santana and Ortiz, great as a tag team, give them their time to shine. Sammy, as a champion, give him his time to shine. That's it. That's what should be the focal point of this, not all these other people. But yeah, Inner Circle will win. So, the people who like to sing Jericho's song can continue to sing it during the pay-per-view and so on and so forth. But yeah, Inner Circle will win, but I'm tired of them. So hopefully this is going to change moving forward.
Yeah, it's just a big jumbled mess. But before I go into that, Dana, would you like to say something?
I never picked a prediction.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
no.
Okay.
I didn't.
Oh, I thought you did.
Oh, I'm sorry because I interrupted. Go ahead.
It's okay. For poops and giggles, let's just go with the group that's not Inner Circle.
Yeah. Was it American
whatever
Team?
Even he had to Google.
Team whatever. That's
Men of the Year.
Men of the. I've seen. Nobody even knew their name.
No, that's the name of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and then the other team is American Top Team. It's very stupid. But yeah, this whatever. The other team. Just call them
the other team. Because
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, Dana, I'm going to change my prediction to that also. I'm going to change it also because I've had a couple of my friends, like in another chat, they all picked Inner Circle. I'm thinking that's a little too obvious. I mean, I'm like, you would think that like, okay, maybe Jericho pins Lambert or something, and that's how they do that. But it's like they're trying to tell us that this American Top Team is a big deal that we should care about, but they haven't really showed it yet. How else could they show it except by having them win in the pay-per-view?
And Jake Hager, because remember, he's MMA. Have them go at it.
Yeah.
Yes. And to piggyback off of what you both said, in order for them to make an impact, not only do they need to win, but this loss needs to break up the Inner Circle because you're ending the year off. It makes sense. This is the last pay-per-view of the year, right? Mm-hmm. These guys, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, are the men of the year, right? So they need to win this match so that it's meaningful and it needs to impact Inner Circle. Because again, going into 2022, I don't want to see Inner Circle in any more of these matches when you have people like Sammy, who is a champion, and you have a team like Santana and Ortiz that should get their own matches. So yeah, that makes sense. Let's agree to go with that in that direction.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you that the whole idea behind the Inner Circle was to prop up all those other guys. Mm-hmm. I feel like they've been propped up to this point where they don't need the Inner Circle anymore.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I agree with you. Let's let the Inner Circle move on and let us move on. We've got the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. That's a lot right there.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, let's just call it the Tournament Finals. It's featuring Bryan Danielson against John Moxley. Oh, no, sorry. It was going to be Moxley. It was going to be Moxley, but it's Miro. And I'm going to go first on this one, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really feel so. I've gone back and forth trying to figure out who's going to win this. And this, obviously, like the way I feel that who wins this depends on who wins the main event.
Yep.
And I think we all have a feeling about how the main event will turn out. So with that in mind, I think it makes sense for the heel to come out victorious here. In this case, Miro. I felt that prior to Moxley taking his leave, that he was going to turn heel and beat Bryan Danielson in the finals. That you were seeing his character come out with even more of an edge, more of an I don't give a shit attitude where he was like coming in, he was doing a quick squash, he was kicking the gates, hitting people on the way out and everything. He was showing a more aggressive side. And I felt like what was going to happen is that you can have Mox as a heel win this tournament and chase the AEW champion. But now Miro has a chance to fill that role, and Miro is a perfect fit because his character has been amazing as the Redeemer. And it's funny that he's called the Redeemer. He's having his own redemption right now after having dropped the TNT championship. He now has a chance for something else, and he's talking about, "Oh, is my God giving me a chance, or is he mocking me?" Like his promos have been excellent. He looks fantastic. He's been great, and I think this is a good chance to reward him. And on top of that, make Bryan Danielson look human, because Bryan Danielson's been mowing through everybody. And same way that Punk needs to lose a match, I think Danielson needs to lose one. So that's why I'm going to go with Miro here. Any of you guys want to chime in?
Go ahead, Dana.
Okay. Well, the real winner of this match will be Lana, no matter what. But I have to agree with you. This whole new gimmick and the whole new look of Miro has been incredible. It kind of shows you what a way how they wasted his talent in other companies. But this has been so incredible. Richard, this has been so incredible. A really great run. He's really great at promos. He's really captivating just in general. And I think that, even though it was supposed to originally have been Mox, this was a really great substitute. And I don't even want to say substitute because he earned it. He deserves this as well. So I want him to win. He needs that win. And again, I love Daniel Bryanson, but we've seen Daniel Bryanson win things already that he probably should not have won. And it really would have been great if he would have lost before on some couple other matches. But him losing this, he needs to. I'm sorry, I love him, but you go. Please, go down. Go lose.
So I agree with everything that has been said. Miro is the one who I'm picking to win, but I do want to make this point. I think that Miro should have already been in this tournament. It should not have been him getting at it at the last minute because of what happened with Moxley. So they got very lucky in those regards that they were able to put him in it. But he should be who wins this. And Daniel Bryan, his track record, Bryan Danielson, his track record in WWE, on his way out, he made sure everyone else looked great, gave them chances to win. I think you're going to see the same thing happen tonight with this match. But in the case of this situation, Miro deserves it and was served as the perfect first opponent for the next champion. But yeah, we'll get into that soon.
Mm-hmm.
Miro.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that maybe they didn't put Miro in the tournament originally because they didn't want him to lose, and because the original plan, I think, was to have Mox win it, or at least be in the finals. And now with Miro in it, it's potentially them kind of pushing the plans up and having him contend right away, which I'm okay with, regardless of how that turns out. I think he's earned that chance, and that's a lot comparing to last year. When he came in and and just wasn't really quite clicking. So the whole Redeemer thing is a whole lot better, and I like to see where they go with it. Let's see. Any other thoughts before we continue?
Just in general, because Bryan Danielson changed he went back to his original form of wrestling. He's way more brutal now. And it feels like a street fight. This is going to be a great match.
Yeah.
So either way, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I have to look it up because I heard that Danielson say in one of those vignettes that he hasn't beaten Miro yet. I have to look it up to verify that. I think that's quite an interesting stat if true. And so that kind of casts this whole doubt, like, okay, maybe Bryan finally gets the win. but maybe he doesn't. I think it just makes more sense to have Miro win, and because Danielson, he's going to get his shot. It doesn't need to be right away.
Yeah.
But a guy like Miro, there's a chance to move him up and to show like that this company has a lot of top contenders. So yeah, let's go. We've got the penultimate match on this card, assuming that it goes in this order. You never know, but it's for the AEW Women's World Championship. You got Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D, going up against Tay Conti. Dana would like to go first on this one.
Here is the thing. I love Britt Baker again as well, but I do want her to win. I do think she does need to drop the belt eventually to someone. Tay Conti is an incredible wrestler as well, and she has not gotten the true opportunity to really, really shine through. So I would like her to win, but I don't know if now is her time. That's the only thing.
You're muted, Ricky.
You're pulling on me.
I am. My apologies. No, I'm with you in that. I feel like Tay Conti deserves a shot, but I don't know if this is quite her time. I don't know if this is the one for Britt to drop the belt to. And so, yeah, I mean, this could be a good enough match to keep her in the discussion, in the months to come. I just don't think this is the moment for Britt to get the belt. So I think Britt's going to retain. I don't know. What do you think, Rich?
I agree with some of the points that was mentioned. In my honest opinion, Britt Baker retains. And to answer the question of who takes the belt off of her, I think it's Thunder Rosa. If I had to make a guess right now, that's the end game for her losing that belt. But she's going to retain tonight, in my opinion. That's
a really good prediction, actually, because I remember when Thunder Rosa came in and Britt was like, you don't belong here and all that, and they had that whole feud. And I think that was before Britt won the belt. So they have a history now, and that's something they can play up when that matchup happens. And Thunder Rosa's one of those ones that they want to prop up. So I agree with you.
She's incredible.
It's great. Anyone else have any final thoughts before we go into the main event?
That's everything.
That's everything. Okay, cool. All right. Let's move on to the main event. This is for the AEW World Championship, what we've all been waiting for. This is the cleaner, Kenny Omega, going against Hangman, Adam Page. It's for all the marbles. They've had this built up between these two. We knew it would eventually come down to this. Which one do you like to go first? Rich wants to go first. It's on you, Rich. Go ahead.
Okay, if I recall correctly, and for those of you that watch AEW, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Kenny Omega won the belt almost a year ago against Moxley. Yeah. I remember it was sometime at the end of the year. It could have been at the beginning or the end of the year. But I think that up until this point, Kenny Omega has had his run as champion. I think that the end game is for Adam Page to win the title. They made a big deal about him returning and being a part of that match to earn this opportunity. So I feel like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Adam Page wins. But I do want to say this. Adam Page wins, cool. At some point, I'm not saying this needs to happen next year. It can happen whenever. I want to see a triple threat with Daniel Bryan involved as well. Because that would be a pretty interesting matchup, I think. Seeing how Daniel Bryan didn't get a title match.
Bryan Danielson.
Oh, there you go. Bryan Danielson, yes. But yeah, I think it's pretty obvious Adam Page wins this match. There's no suspense whatsoever. If he doesn't win, it wouldn't make any sense unless a certain someone shows up and costs him the match. But he needs to win the match. But go ahead. I have something else to say. I'm going to save that for later. Continue.
Go ahead, Dana.
First of all, no to Daniel Bryan. We're treating him like a newbie. No newbie. You earn your dues. And no to that. Yeah, Adam Page, we all know. We want him to win. I think fans will literally riot if he doesn't win. And they'll start angry tweeting Tony Khan. This is something that we've wanted for a while. This is something that is needed. He had his kid. Life was good. He's happy. Remember, he's now sober. So let him win. Let him bask in that glory of winning. And that's it right now. No triple threat matches. Just be happy and win.
Yeah, I think our friend Richard has too much of the WWE mindset going on, that you have a good match between two people, you got to add that third person in there.
You got to have a number one contenders after the match too.
Hey, I'm sure there's some people that want to see Daniel Bryan go against these guys at some point. He's already went against Kenny. It's going to happen at some point. He's going to face Page. It's just a matter of when that happens.
Well, we'll see. Maybe it'll happen at Evolution, because that's the next pay-per-view, I believe, in February.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely could happen then. But I think that you guys have pretty much hit the nail on the head. That Hangman Adam Page, this is his time. It's his time to win it. It really should have been his time at All Out, but I understand that he had just had his kid born. And then on top of that, you had the debuts of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, and that would have taken out a lot of that. It would have taken away from that, on top of Punk having just returned. So you had like 3 big additions in the span of a few weeks. People wouldn't even be thinking, oh, and by the way, Adam Page won the championship. Like, there's a chance that now that those additions have come in, and the shine is a little bit off a bit now. Now they're AEW. It's time for the top guy in AEW to be crowned. And Kenny Omega, you can still say he's the best wrestler in the world, and I'll agree with you there. But he's had that belt for a year. It's time to give it up. I think that the one guy that needs to drop it to, like I felt last year, I think I said this on WrestleCast last year, possibly that when Mox was going to drop the belt, that Kenny Omega had to be the one he dropped it to.
You did say that. Mm-hmm.
That like it just feels right. That's where that goes, because they had that history. Mox having debuted in AEW by attacking Kenny Omega and all that, and so it only made sense that Omega got that Mox got his comeuppance from Omega, even though it was using heel tactics and what have you. But now this whole thing with the tag team, we knew from the moment that Omega and Hangman got together as a tag team that they were going to have a feud. We just thought it was going to be the other way, where Omega was going to be the face and Hangman was going to be the heel. It's gone the other way, and it's worked out well. The fans are fully behind Hangman, and it would be an atrocity if they did not have Hangman win this. It's his time, and I think that's what they're going to do. And it's going to be very satisfying to see. So that's how I think that's gonna end. As far as any triple threats, let's save that for months down the line. I do think that'd be an interesting match to see how all 3 of them are together.
Mm-hmm.
But not until like Evolution at the earliest, in my opinion.
I agree. I like to make one final comment also, because it feels as though we have to address the elephant in the room. I think at some point, Mr. Rotunda is going to debut in AEW. And when he does, he's going after Adam Page, because Adam Page has built up. He has taken over. He has pretty much been looked upon now as a person of some importance with this faction. So I kind of feel like that's going to happen. Dana can say no, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen, because why would Bray Wyatt? I'm sorry. Why would Rotunda say on multiple occasions on social media, wait till you hear my side of the story.
A podcast.
Is he going to have, no, hold on. Is he going to have the interview with a major wrestling observer person who he does not like, who he's also said that he does not like some of these people? Or is he going to have an interview with another wrestler by the name of Chris Jericho? I kind of think that's what he's alluding to, because every single time these wrestlers have conversations and they're talking about stuff in their previous companies, it has been on Jericho's podcasts. So I kind of feel like when you see Seth Rollins making these comments about, oh, I wanted to kill Vince after the Hell in a Cell match with Bray Wyatt, and you see him say, wait till you hear my side of the story, where else is he going to tell that story? I think it makes good sense for it to be with Jericho. So it's going to happen. That's my guess. I could be 100% wrong, but there's no way that's not going to happen. Continue.
No, he is wrong. He is wrong. Bray Wyatt, whatever he wants to be, Rotunda, whomever, he is busy making movies on the Warner Brothers studio lot. He is happy. Let that man go and be happy. You can have your little interview with Chris Jericho. I will listen. Everyone will listen. But that does not mean that he wants to be a wrestler. A wrestler in AEW. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. But no. Let him make his movie. And even when his movie is done, no.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. Like I was actually curious, like if you guys thought that Rotunda would debut tonight, or maybe even Murphy or Strowman or something like that. I mean,
Murphy is with New Japan now, right? He has a matchup coming with someone in New Japan soon. I think I saw that somewhere.
Okay, that's very interesting if that's the case. Now, from what I've heard, like someone online had mentioned, like, like, what if Okada shows up tonight? But the thing is that New Japan has a show tonight as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess New Japan has a show tonight as well. So it's like it's a U.S. show apparently. I didn't know about this, but
wow.
Yeah. So if Murphy's going to be on that, then you can forget about him appearing. But the thing with Murphy is that he has history with Malachi Black, and that was something that we've seen in Murphy's own videos that he's put on social media.
Yes.
And alluding to that, and it's just very interesting, that continuity that you guys alluded to earlier about Malachi Black with his eye. Wasn't Murphy's the one that caused that?
Yes.
So
by taking orders from Seth Rollins.
Exactly. And I have to think that even if Murphy's in New Japan, we've been seeing New Japan talent participate in AEW. I'm sure he's going to show up at some point. Not sure if it'll be tonight, but I think that's something that we could see down the line. I don't know what's happening with Braun Strowman. I don't want him to go to AEW, quite honestly. But
the thing is,
no one needs him.
Is the Impact deal over? Is it still ongoing with AEW working with Impact wrestlers? Is that still ongoing? Because I was under the assumption that they said it's no longer in effect because the Good Brothers are not in AEW right now.
No. Tony Khan went and spoke, and he said that he thought it was laughable that a journalist said that, kind of ran with it, and that is not the case at all.
Okay, so so that opens up the possibility of anybody showing up, but I would think that nobody is going. There's no surprises coming at this event. I think there could be a surprise. So let's find out what the surprise is. It could be in one of these lackluster matches we've mentioned, although I don't see how that would make much sense. But so there's going to be some surprise. I kind of feel that's coming. If it's not at the pay-per-view, it would be on Dynamite before the year is over. But I don't think feel like it has to be something else happening tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll
maybe I don't know. Maybe we see Lana show up with Miro or something like that.
She's the Redeemer. Remember, she redeemed his son.
Hey, he has to win for her. Remember, he has to win for her.
Yeah, for her. Exactly.
Yes. So that's possible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities, and it's all exciting, and I can't wait to find out. We've actually got less than a couple hours until showtime for that. So let's wrap this up, and so we can get ready for that. Before we do, any last thoughts?
No, it's going to be a really great and fun pay-per-view, minus the bathroom break one. So I hope even the bathroom break one surprises me. And I'm okay with them there not being any surprises.
Yeah, you don't have to have one in every pay-per-view.
They don't have to have a surprise in every pay-per-view. I agree. It just kind of feels though like they're going. Listen, I'll just end off by saying this. I look forward to what'll be a entertaining show, but for me to sit here and think that they are not going to at some point sign some of the people that were just released, that's just completely ridiculous, because they have already said they're interested in some people that were released. They didn't specify which wrestlers they're interested in, but at some point you're going to see them pursue these people. Now, obviously, the people who were just released, they cannot sign a new deal until February, so that makes sense. But Bray Wyatt is a very special, interesting individual, Mr. Rotunda. I'll be very curious. Like I said, I'll be surprised if he doesn't come back to wrestling, but I don't think he's just going to go to movies and that's it. This guy is still going to be doing some wrestling, because he has never said he's going to quit wrestling. He's never publicly said that. Until he has an interview and says that, I think the door is open for him to go anywhere, but not WWE, because they don't know how to use him correctly. So we'll see what happens.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
For WWE, it's poor. They don't have any money.
Yeah, they don't.
You thought
they have no money.
Go fund me something.
Yeah, they have no money. They're completely broke company, so they can't afford this guy or anybody.
They went to Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel out of charity. They definitely didn't get any money from that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They haven't had record-breaking profits or anything like that. No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Budget cuts. But yeah, great show here, guys. It's always fun talking with you. Let's get ready for Full Gear. And we may or may not do Survivor Series. I couldn't tell you what's on the card, and you probably couldn't either, because who the heck is even watching it? But
Sasha.
No one cares.
And Aaliyah, but then they kicked Aaliyah off the team.
No one cares about Survivor Series.
I honestly haven't found WWE weekly shows to be watchable lately.
It's not. It's not. And I'm tired of hearing and seeing Becky versus Charlotte. I'm tired of that matchup. And yet it's on the card again. So it is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, we may or may not do a Survivor Series one. Whatever. But enjoy Full Gear. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Have a good night.